In the book, you give us a lot of information, but I want to know how much didn't make it into the book. What was left on the cutting room floor, so to speak?
Yeah, I think, I mean, the way I understood my sort of invitation to this party, if that's what you want to call it, like the way I get asked to write a book is because I'm a chef and I work in the restaurant industry, and for whatever reasons, that's very popular right now, which I can't explain, and it's weird to me, but I'm very grateful to be in the right place at the right time. But when I had to write the book, I understood that it could only be about my life and the people and places in so much as they pertain to food. So I had to jettison everything that didn't have a very strong food
connotation.
Context, exactly. You know, and that's also how I kind of sneak in to the party. Like, I'm invited through food, but I'm not going to stay in that. I'm going to sneak in as much human condition as I can, and
and there's a lot.
Whatever writing skill set I have to the party as much as I possibly can. I didn't want to just stay in the what I consider the food writing ghetto.
Were you asked to write a memoir? Or were you asked to write a cookbook, or like along the ways? I mean, what prompted the memoir first?
No, I was just asked to write a book, or I had been asked many times to write a book, and I didn't quite understand that. It was a little too early. Prune had just opened, I guess, and people were starting, oh, you should do a book, you should do a book. And I felt actually very offended by that, because I revere books, and I thought they were not precious, but special, and only real people, real writers could write books. And I've since learned you don't even have to write your own book anymore. And everyone can have a book.
Ghostwriting is a whole other thing, right?
It's been so devalued. Actually, the lowering of the bar helped me a lot. I was like, oh, well, I can do that too then. So
do you feel the bar's been lowered on food writing?
I do, of course. Is that all right to say?
Yes.
I mean, you see it. Yep. I walked through a bookstore. I was like, oh my God, there's so many books. Not everyone can write a book. So
apparently.
It helped me, relax my anxiety about what kind of skill set you had to have to do it. I'm not saying I didn't work very hard, and I gave it every freaking molecule I own to put into the book, but I just thought I just have to do good enough, or I have to do my best. I'm not possibly going to be as good as the literature that I read,
right. Do you follow any blogs? There's so much food blogging out there, and so much of it is so bad. I mean, it's serious. Come on, let's call a spade here. Some of those, they should just keep diaries and not let everybody share it with everybody. Sorry, I had to get that off my chest too.
Do you sell books by any chance?
We do sell books, yeah, I know. We don't sell blogs.
You're not bitter, are you?
Yeah, I'm not right. Okay, let's get back on track here.
I don't follow blogging. I don't. No. It's you know what I will tell you for sure?
Yep.
I have never once read a single blog, and I mean even of the most august publications that have an online presence, that doesn't contain spelling, syntactical, and factual errors every single time.
Yep.
It's unbelievable, the lack of editing. So I'm just a diehard print person until they make me go, and even then.
Back to the book for a little bit. You were talking about in the book all about the great parties. Your dad staged them, and your mother's cooking, all this sort of stuff. I mean, when was it that you realized those were actually really special moments in a very unconventional childhood? Like, when did it dawn on you? Because you were just living the moment. You probably thought that was pretty normal or not, or like, how did it dawn on you that that was special?
No, I think that our uniqueness was actually hammered home to us by our mother all the time in a kind of snobby way. So I think I was very aware from the first time you try to bring a friend home from school and they see that your house has pigeons roosting in the walls and nobody seems to mind, or that the light switches don't have any dimmer buttons on them, so you're sort of wiring things together to make the lights go on, or the foods that we ate. I mean, even our lunch boxes were, for us felt freakish, but we understood that we were freakish and different in a kind of superior way. That's what our mom would have had us know. But I think those memories are, because the family kind of imploded and dissolved so early in my life. I mean, I'm watching my son now, and you don't have much time of conscious, like you sort of come to when you're about 5. You kind of figure out what's going on in the world more or less. So I think that's the same for me. I must have sort of come to when I was 5. And then it all ended when I was about 11. So the memories I have are vivid, and I've locked onto them tenaciously. It's a little bit like if your house burns down and you only have 5 photographs, like you study them very meticulously. So.
And then once I love the bit where you got the $100 People's Express ticket. Actually, how many? I flew People's Express. Yeah, $99.99. I mean, that was years ago. I think it flew out of Buffalo. We used to trek down there. But that took you out of your comfort zone. That took you in a way to meet people that you truly had not expected, and food in a different way, meeting people. So you can tell us about that. But can people do that today? Like, because here we've got. This probably is being taped as we speak. It'll be on YouTube by the time we walk out of here. I mean, can people leave their comfort zone like that anymore to challenge themselves, to get some ingenuity and creativity?
I'm sure they can, but maybe not in the same way. I'm wondering if that kind of travel is even possible now, that there's an ATM machine everywhere, I guess, and an internet cafe wherever you go. I mean, I'm sure you can. I don't know in what context you would find that. It may not be backpacking around the world anymore, but really what those conditions are to sit in your loneliness and isolation for as long as you have to and make do, or to starve, or find yourself on a platform in the south of India and you need to be in Thailand in 3 weeks because your traveler's checks get renewed there, or whatever it is I'm saying. So I don't know what the circumstances are in which one develops that kind of self-reliance, but it may not be in the same way that I did it, but I'm sure someone could do it.
Yeah. That was did that have a real seminal moment for you, though, those traveling that you look back on now?
Completely pivotal, important, life-saving time. By the time I finished that and had to go back and finish college, I was almost laughing all the way. I was like, oh, you think this is hard, to read this long book and write this long paper?
Let me tell you, right?
This is a piece of cake.
Yeah. You said, and I quote you, I don't eat for entertainment and I don't eat to have my mind blown. I read somewhere. I can't remember where, but you said it, trust me.
Yeah.
I was very conscious of making sure if I was going to quote you that it was actually in print. So in today's age of superstar chefs like Redzepi and Ferran Adrià and Grant Achatz, where a lot of that is mind-blowing entertainment, and they use local ingredients and they're pushing the envelope. I mean, how would you describe your cooking and your food, or your philosophy, if you like, on cooking in the context of what is going on all around you now?
It's very simple.
They're just throwing those dandelions on the plate.
I eat
no tweezers.
When I'm hungry.
You eat when you're hungry.
And I cook what I would like to eat.
You're hungry.
And I stop eating when I'm not hungry. And I don't cook things that don't matter to me. I mean, it couldn't be simpler. I don't use food for, I've heard that phrase, comfort food, or guilty pleasure, or reward, or punishment. I mean, whoa. I would never saddle all that crap onto food. I'm just hungry and I have certain cravings and I like to eat what I'm craving, and then I like to move on. And the cooking at the restaurant is the same way. It's just very straightforward. And I guess I didn't open a restaurant hoping that people would pay attention to the chef or the kitchen. I wanted them to pay attention to each other at the table, and there would be what's required to make that conversation go more fluidly, like a little liquid, some wine, and some good food that makes
in light of
human exchange a lot easier.
The hospitality part, right?
Yeah.
That a lot of people forget when in a restaurant. Two things then. How, in the idea, well, I know you don't like competitive cooking things. You won Iron Chef. I mean, I don't like I like the more instructional cooking shows on television. I like the more educational, and they can be entertaining, but I don't like that whole reality stuff. That's just me, and I don't understand you don't like that either. But you did go on Iron Chef.
I know. You know what? It was such a whim. I was in the kitchen, in the prep kitchen, and the call came in. And my kitchen is pretty much stocked with 23-year-olds, like most kitchens. And I just put the phone down on my shoulder. I was like, you guys, Iron Chef? What do you think? And they're like, yeah, go for it. Yeah. I'm like, okay, I'll do it.
Okay, I feel better now.
So I sort of took one
did it
for
for
the
them.
team.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were so excited. And then I don't like to do too many things that I fail at, so I was like, well, if we're going to win. I'm not going to humiliate myself in front of 10 billion Americans.
And so that brings you.
So we took him down. I mean, whatever.
Yeah, you did. You did. It's never been the same since. So how do you? Because that brings you a lot of attention to Prune and to you.
Yeah. We can tell every time that re-airs.
Do you really? It's like Spike.
That and every time Tony Bourdain, I should just pay him. He did a no reservations episode at the restaurant, and we know every time it runs. It's incredible. The power of television is incredible.
Yeah. Scary. A little bit. So in that context then, when you've seen a lot of your...
Scary about it,
Yes.
if I can just say,
Yes.
is what, if you don't want to participate, how are you going to put asses in the chairs in your restaurant? Maybe not at 8 o'clock, but at 5:30 and 10. And what I find maybe sad, I'm not sure, but sometimes I'm watching the competition shows and I see people that I know, older cooks who've been doing it a long time, what we call old stoves, and they are brilliant cooks. And I'm like, why are you rinsing your pasta in the dorm room shower stall? This is so beneath you. Why are you doing this? And then I understand why. It's because you got to fill your restaurant. So it can be a little weird.
You know, in Toronto here, we've got, David Chang's coming, Daniel Boulud's coming. Why is there only still one Prune? Is that a conscious decision to not expand, or
I have
just...
some aversion to making money. I don't understand. And that may change the more I look into private education for my children. Should I open Prune Toronto?
Yes, let's open Prune Toronto.
Yeah.
So it's just something you're not...
I don't have a voracious consuming personality like that. I love my restaurant more than anything. It's, I feel kind of devoted to it, kind of like a long-term marriage. I think it's very fun to get married or to have children, and then you have to be married, and then you have to raise the children. And it's the same with the restaurant, It's fun to open a restaurant or to try out your new concept, but to really run one and keep it relevant and fresh and alive and in good shape 25 years later, that's a more compelling ambition for me. And it's non-profit. That's the stupidest thing.
Non-profit.
Whatever. You want to sell my cookbook?
Yeah. Yeah. We'll have you back here for a book signing and see what happens with that. So you alluded, though, to family life and like the kitchen family and your own, somebody's personal family, your own family. How do you balance that? I mean, you must get this asked all the time, and it's hard. I mean, anybody who runs a small business doesn't need to be a restaurant. It's hard finding that balance.
Yeah.
Or something usually gets sacrificed along the way.
Oh. Well, I gave up sort of thinking about balance after I realized I was chasing it for over 2 years. I kept hearing myself say this sentence over and over again. Hey, you know what? Next week, everything's going to calm down. It's going to be much better. And we'll do that thing. And I heard myself really, literally say that over and over until I was feeling insane. And I thought, actually, nothing's going to be different next week. So when I understood that it was going to be this chaotic and this unbalanced, I relaxed myself into that kind of hot bath. And I'm not saying that's an easy thing to do, I am, burst into tears when I see that my kid lost his first tooth and I'm catering somebody's wedding, or I'm like, fuck, I just missed my kid's tooth. But I mean, on the other hand, they're fine and I'm fine and we see each other plenty. And
I think if you like what you do, it makes a huge difference to how they perceive it. They're not resentful of the restaurant or your workplace. Or maybe they are. No?
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think it would be harsh to say to my kid, I don't have to go to work, I want to.
Good point.
I'm prioritizing my job over you, honey. But I do love my job, and I do feel that way. Sometimes it's like, I can't wait to get out of the house and go back to work. But you suffer these pains all the time of, you don't know what's being cooked at your restaurant, or you don't know what happened to your kid's tooth, or
There's always something.
Yeah.
What do you look for when you hire your kitchen staff? What do you look for in them when you get which you must get a ton of resumes?
Mostly it's a kind of smell test to see if we can stand next to each other in the same room for 18 hours. It's really a lot of time spent with someone. And the skill set, hopefully you have a basic skill set and we can give you the rest. But personality matters a lot. And so on a trail, we look a lot at how much the person talked and how little they talked. So a real yacker on the first day is sort of like, no. And you know what I think about vinaigrette? It's like, I don't care what you think about vinaigrette on your first day. Or conversely, the person that's so scared and silent, it's kind of like, come on, get in the game a little. So some personality that we can live with and a skill set, hopefully.
How often are you in the kitchen now? I mean, you're on this year-long, it seems like, book tour that never ends for you and lots of notoriety now. But
this is my favorite joke. I often am proudly saying, I have graduated. I think I'm an executive chef now. And every time I say that, they're like, can you work the egg shift on Friday or whatever? I'm like, I almost made it out. But in fact, I have not worked. Oh, that's not true. I did a couple weeks ago. But in general, I don't really work the shift where I'm hauling the mats out at 2 o'clock in the morning anymore. I cook a lot of events. So when we have private dinners or we have an event thing happening at the restaurant, I tend to do those and all the holidays and family meal and stuff like that. So,
what do you think of the students coming out of culinary schools? Because you probably get a lot of them coming to you as well. Do you think they're equipped? We've probably got a good skill set. How are you? Because you didn't really, you were on the job, on the fly, learning as you went.
Yeah, I think more or less. I don't think they should quite be equipped. The one thing that you notice immediately is that they don't have restaurant experience. Mm-hmm. So to cook on a hot line quickly and in volume is very different than learning your, portion for 4 in your 1-hour class where you did fish cookery that day or what have you. So they're just two different things. But that if someone comes and they should be clean and have their hair pulled back and their knives sharp and know how to stand in a kitchen. I think that's a good education from a cooking school. Kitchen. Yeah, I met Wynton Marsalis once and he said, you watch the kid just hold the instrument and you can tell so much. And I think it's true. You can just see how someone approaches heat even. If you see someone sort of keeping their groin very far away, kind of, the way enemies kiss each other or,
a tough one.
I'm often walking by sort of pushing people's pelvises toward them. Like, you might as well get used to this now.
Has your palate changed over the years? You find, have you developed, things that intrigue you now that didn't before?
Not that I'm aware of.
You're nothing.
Sorry.
Nothing. You just like everything.
No. Only during pregnancy,
Oh, well, that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
I do notice the big scar. Mm-hmm. And I just thought about the heat thing. I forgot to ask you, do you have battle wounds that you're... Because when we have them come to the store, we give a student discount to culinary students. And when they come in, if they've forgotten their student card, we just say, roll up your sleeves. And honestly, it's like little nicks. And then they start telling, oh, yeah, and then I did this with that one. And then they go down memory lane. It's like, so do you...
My favorite story of all time was pulling hot sheet pans out of a convection oven and losing one but couldn't lose the product. Mm. And I stopped it with my neck. I was like, oh. And now that I'm a better cook, I find that I can work an entire shift without getting burned.